Hello, my name is Lisa. I'm with the Tampa-Hillsborough County Public Library, and I'm so excited to be joined today by our pal Jen from the Color Express. I'm going to hand it over to Jen. She's going to introduce our topic, and then we're going to get started with our video.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. As Lisa mentioned, my name is Jennifer with the Color Express. I'm the founder of the company, and I'm so happy to go over this painting with you today. It's a Florida beach scene, so our elf is buried in the sand. So while we're painting this, I'm going to go step by step and make it really easy for you. And you can be thinking about maybe what you want to put on your little sign at the end. You know, really, you can make the painting yours. Just have fun with it. Anything you don't like can be fixed and changed. That's the beauty of art and painting. So I'm really excited to do this with you tonight.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera and microphone off, and we'll get that activity playing right away.
Hi, it's Jennifer here with the Color Express. Excited to paint a Christmas Florida beach scene with you. You're going to need 3 size brushes. So I have a tiny brush for detail, a larger brush that's about 1 inch wide, and then a number 8 medium size brush. You're also going to need your primary colors, which is the red, yellow, blue. You're going to need green, white, and brown. So grab your supplies. You'll also need a cup of water and either a rag or a napkin, and then we'll get started. Okay, so I'm going to start by dipping my big brush in the white, and I'm going to put white on both sides of my brush. I pull from the edge of my puddle, and I'm going to make, you're probably not going to be able to see it, so I'll go ahead and put a little bit of brown on top, but I'm making a bumpy line because the sand is not perfect, but it's going to be higher on both edges. So that you can see what I just did, I'm going to actually put a tiny little dab of brown on my brush and go back over it, I want you to be able to see this. Okay, you can do that too if you want to, because we were going to do that eventually. It was just a tiny bit of brown. And I want it to look streaky, so I'm not going over it and blending it too much. Now I'm going to dip my dirty brush back in the white, and we're going to go ahead and paint the entire bottom, which is going to be the sand, white, using messy brush strokes, using long brush strokes, but kind of making it bumpy, just like we did with the top of the sand. We want a nice coat of wet paint here so that we can blend that tan, the brown, right on top. Okay, so that's why for the sand, we kind of have to work quickly so that it doesn't dry up on us and we could blend that brown on top. And the way that you can see if you've done a good job of covering all of the bottom of the canvas with the white is to kind of give it a look at it on its side, and you'll see how if it's shiny. If it's not shiny everywhere, that means that there are places that are not painted yet. Okay, so I have a good coat of white on the bottom. Now again, I'm taking just a little bit and just doing a tiny little dab of brown. You could even wipe some off. And then I'm going to drag my brush like this and wipe most of it off. Now that most of it is wiped off my brush, I'm going to go back over it and go ahead and blend it more, make it more blended. But you'll notice I want to see those different shades in the sand, so I'm not going to over blend it. Okay. And if there's some spaces that is still too light, you could add a little bit more brown. That's what I'm going to do here. Thought it was too light in this corner. Because it's better to start with a little brown. You could always add more. It's kind of hard to take it away. making it a little bit darker and the closer it is to us, and it's lighter further away. A little bit more on the sides here. There. So that's our sand, real easy, first step here. Okay, and now you can go ahead and wash your brush off because we're going to be using the big brush for the next step. So I'm just taking my brush, I'm dabbing it at the bottom of the cup to really loosen up that paint, swirling it around, and then once it looks clean, I just slide that excess water off on the side and then dry it off on a napkin, or if you have a little painter's towel here, you can do that as well. Okay, now we are going to use straight blue. So I'm dipping my brush on both sides with blue, and we're going to make a horizon, which is where the sky and the water meet. So I'm just going to turn my brush this way, right about here, and we're going to go straight across. I'm turning my brush to make a thin line, but you can do it either way. You can make a thin line or a thick line. If you need to take a step back to see, okay, does this look straight? Feel free, take a step back and look at it, and then adjust as needed. Sometimes it looks like one side is higher than the other, and you can just go ahead and keep adjusting your line. Now, I'm going to use my brush in the other direction to make a wider line, and I'm just going to fill this in, side to side brush strokes. I'm going to add a little bit of white. I want it to get a little lighter the closer it gets to us, the water. So I want it to be a nice rich blue back here. Okay, and now I'm going to put blue on my brush again and white. So I scooped up blue and white on my brush, see that? And I'm going to put it right underneath, okay? And then when there's barely any paint left on my brush, that's when I'm gonna let the two colors blend a little more. So I'm just kind of taking my brush and going back through it. So it kind of makes a nice transition there. Okay, and then I'm not going to dip my brush in the blue anymore. I'm just going to dip it in the white. So it's even lighter now. I'm just using the white to fill in the rest here. I'm just going to go right up against the sand. Putting more white on my brush. Let's do the other side. And I always go back over where the two colors meet when I really don't have much paint left on my brush. Okay. That is our water. Now I still have blue on my brush, so I'm just going to put some white on it for the sky. So we're getting more of a light blue. And we're just going to start at the top here. And I'm just spreading out this light blue. And I like the different shades in the sky, so I'm not going to keep going over the same spot. Otherwise, it'll just turn one solid color. We want this to dry fast, so try and do a thin layer of paint because we have other things to paint on top of the sky, so I really want it to dry quickly. Okay, now I'm going to go a little slower because I'm getting close to the horizon line here. So take your time when you're going near there. All right. So go ahead and I'm going to give you a second to do your final touches on your sky. And then once you've finished your sky, you can go ahead and wash your brush again. And then dry it off. We're going to leave that brush alone for a little bit, give it a break while we switch to our medium-sized brush. Okay, we're going to dip our medium-sized brush in the white and think of this like the letter V. So coming out of the sand, not directly at the bottom, but a little bit higher, I am going to make, this is an elf leg. You'll see him very soon. It will look like an elf's leg. There's one. And my other one is going to go in this direction. And that's why I say it's kind of like the letter V. I hope you can see that. Doing this first so that we can add the red stripes to it. So we'll just let that dry for a moment and then we'll add the red stripes. You can take whatever white is left on your brush is fine, and then go ahead and dip it in the green. So you're going to have like a lighter green here. Just going to make a lighter green since we already had white on our brush. We're going to do a line on both of those. And then it's going to be like a triangle, a triangle, and a triangle. And fill it in. It's going to be the top part of the little elf shoe. Just making the side ones curve out a little bit more. Okay. Now you can wipe the white off of your brush and then go ahead and dip it in the green, just the dark, straight green without white. Okay, and here, you gotta be careful around the top part of the shoe because we just painted it. So I'm gonna go slow. And then we're going to do this shoe going this way. So this is like the back of the heel, so you want it to be curved like that. Okay. And then it's going to do that funny little curl that the elf shoes do. Just trying to smooth out my paint here. There's one. And then we're going to work on the other one. And it's going to go in the opposite direction. So again, I'm being careful not to paint on top of the light green. This heel is going to curve this way. It's going to do that funny little curl. Just going over all my green because for some reason my green shows the brush strokes a lot. So I'm just smoothing them out. Okay. I'm going to add one green stripe at the top of the elf shoe. And then you can go ahead and wash the green off your brush so we can switch to red. Okay. And now we're using the same size brush. I'm putting red on both sides of my brush, and I'm going to make those stripes. So I'm going to start at the bottom here. I'm going to do a stripe. Looks like my white is still a little bit wet, so we might have to do a second layer. We're going to do that to both of them. So just space out those red stripes the best you can. I'm going to take my red and just do a little. If you don't push too hard, you'll get a thinner line. Just going to go down the side there. And then I'm going to do a red dot at the bottom. Of each of those points. So there is our cute elf upside down in the sand. You can go ahead and wash the red off your brush and dry it off. Okay, time for our palm tree. So you're going to dip your brush in, I'm still using the medium-sized brush, and you're going to dip it in the brown. And our tree is going to start about here, so you can just make a little curved line that way. And then it's going to curve. So you could even make dashes and then connect them if you want to. As I'm going up, it's going to get thinner, so closer together. Okay, like that. Then you can fill it in. Okay, now that I have a lot of brown on it, I'm going to put brown with a touch of white on my brush, and I'm going to go this way. I'm changing my brush stroke sort of side to side, but a little bit more, think of like a U, because it's a little bit curved. Putting a little white on my brush. Again, you do not want to overblend. So we could see the different shades in there of color. There. Okay, so now with the brown on your brush, go ahead and put some green on your brush. I'm gonna mix a little bit off to the side here, and it's gonna turn, I call it army green. It's gonna be like a little bit darker, but don't mix the whole puddle because we're gonna need this other color over here. So I'm just mixing a little bit like that, okay? Then, because you just mixed, you probably have a lot of paint on your brush, so just wipe a little bit off. And then we're gonna make some, the center of the palm tree, the palms. Okay, so to do that, you're just gonna make hold your brush to make a thinner line, and we're just gonna make the center of all of our palms. Kind of reminds me of a firework. Okay, I think I'll put one more going down that way. Okay, so now that we have those, and you notice I started at the middle and pulled away. If you start here and pull that way, then your thicker part will be here, and we don't want that. We want it to look wispy towards the edges. Okay, so you started at the center, pulled away. Okay, now you can just wipe some of the dark green off your brush and then put the other color green, the regular green, on your brush. And we are going to start at the center of the line, right on the line, and I'm just going to pull away from the line, like that. Okay. We're going to do that to the next one. You start at the line and pull. This one here, I'm going to do it on both sides. So I'm going to start at the line and pull up, and then start at the line again and pull down. Same thing here, start at the line, pull up, like a little flick of the wrist. This one I'm just going to pull down, and I may have to get a little closer. Sorry if I get in your way. Okay. And then this one, just pulling down on this one too. And you notice that they don't all end at the same spot. Some are shorter, some are longer. It looks more natural that way. And then you can dip your dirty brush into a tiny bit of white. I'm even going to wipe some off. I'm just going to put some white highlights just in a few places, not everywhere. So I just added a little bit of white in there. Okay, you can wash your brush off. We're going to make a little sign right here. So first I'm using the medium brush again. I'm just going to use a little bit of brown. And I'm going to make the post of the sign. So it's going to be like right here. So it's a little bit off in the distance, not as far forward as our friend in the sand. Okay, and now for the sign part, you can use brown to draw it, and then we're going to make it lighter. So I'm just going to make a rectangle. Okay, now I'm going to use white and brown. And I'm doing a thin coat of paint here because I want this to dry fast so we can write on it. Okay. And I like the way that looks, so I'm going to add a little bit of darkness on the edges of our old sign. Like that. I'll make the post a little darker by adding one more coat of brown. Okay, while I have this brown on my brush, I want to make it look a little more sandy and bumpy where the post is and where this is. So with the brown on my brush, I'm going to add a little bit of white. And we're just going to add some little bumpy marks. Dirty up that sand a little more. Okay. Like that. And then that same thing with that brown and white on your brush, we're going to do that over here. Basically, whatever is left on my brush, just wiping it off in the sand. Like that. Okay, so we can put that brush in the water or wash it and put that one down for a little bit. I'm going to pick up my big brush again. And it should be clean and dry. I'm going to dip my brush in the yellow because over here is where I want it to be bright and sunny. So I'm just going to add some sunshine over here. And I'm going to put a little bit of white on my brush. Get that in the sun too. I'm putting a little more white in the center. Okay, whatever's left on my brush, I'm just going to add a little bit of reflection of light. Over here. I barely had any paint left on it. I just kind of wiped it off over there. Okay. All right. Now this is fun. We're going to add some lights or ornaments onto our leaves. So you're going to take your tiny brush for this part. And we could start with yellow. And add some circles. But save room for other colors too, so just going to put a few. All right, I'm going to wipe my brush off and then dip it in the red. Okay, so after the red, wash your brush off, and then you're going to add some blue, and you could do some small and some bigger. You could really get creative with it and mix other colors if you want. You can mix a lighter blue and then add some light blue dots. You could mix pink if you wanted to. And then after you are happy with all of your little dots everywhere for the ornaments, you're going to wash your brush off again. And on the sign, you can really add whatever you want. You can put your name there or your last name. And what I'm going to do in this part, it's up to you. You can use a Sharpie marker if you find that easier. You could wait till this totally dries and write on there. I am going to, I forgot to add black to my palette, so I'm just going to mix some blue and red together and make it like a dark color. I'm going to mix blue, red, and brown. There, I got a pretty dark color here. And I'm going to write at the top North Pole and then put like however many, I'm just going to make up some miles, how many miles to the North Pole, and underneath Tampa, I'll put 0 because we are here. Okay, so, and again, like I said, you can just let it dry and wait and use the Sharpie, but I'm just going to write it. North Pole. And then I'll put Tampa. You could even get creative and write something in the sand if you wanted, off to the side here. Tampa, I'll put 0 miles. And then for North Pole, I'll put 3,174. Okay, so there's my sign. I'm going to wash that off my brush. And then at the end, if you want to, I mean, there's all kinds of things we can just keep painting in our painting. It's up to you. You could add some waves in the water just by holding your brush this way and dabbing. We could add some clouds. Again, clouds are just dabbing with barely any paint on your brush. Less is more. Add a few clouds. You could add a little bit of white highlights to the shoes. And then once you're happy with it, you're going to take your brush, the baby brush, wash that blue or black or whatever you had to write in there. And then I'm going to sign my name in the bottom right corner, but I want it to look just like that darker sand color. So I'm just going to take a little brown and white on my brush and make my initials. So it's kind of like part of the sand right in the corner. You could also put the year if you want. 22. And you're all finished. So that's it. I hope you had fun today. Thank you so much for painting with me. And I will see you next time. Bye.
All right, let's get this going here. Get the cameras back on. I decided I needed to get a little festive.
How cute!
Given the occasion. So I saw your little triangles that you did for the elf legs. So I thought I had to get my gnomies out.
Yes, that's perfect. I love it.
We're going to go through a couple of fun things here. Remember, if you have any questions about what we've done so far, remember to take those into the GoToWebinar questions box so we can get to those during the Q&A. But while you're typing away your questions for the experts here, I'm going to go through a couple of things that you can check out at home. Maybe get some more inspiration, some how-to technicals. So I picked 3 books here that we have available on Hoopla Digital right now. So remember, you can log in Hoopla with your library card, and whatever you find on there is yours, no waiting. That's the awesome thing about Hoopla, is that all their stuff doesn't have any hold. So check out any of these or any of the in-person physical books that we have. We have so many art and painting books, so definitely check those out. And you know, I don't know about you, but while I'm painting, I need some music to inspire me. Yes. I need that soundtrack going on while I'm hard at work making my masterpieces. So I was on Hoopla looking for the art books, and I thought, hey, Hoopla's got some great streaming music options. So I thought, you know, with the beach theme, we might need some nautical music. You know, maybe some soothing beach waves, maybe some sea shanty sing-alongs. Maybe the Moana soundtrack. I mean, the options are endless.
but maybe you're ready to get into a more festive spirit. Some Christmas with Motown, maybe the Billy Idol Christmas special. Hey, it's fair game. Like I said, options are endless with the hoopla. But maybe your speed is more along the lines of the Taylor Swift holiday album or the Disney holiday celebration. Again, everybody needs a soundtrack while they're painting away. Hoopla's got some fun ones for all seasons. So let's see, let's check our Q&A box here. Let's see if we've got any questions coming in. I see we have someone who noticed that the distance from the North Pole might not be the same distance for actual Tampa. If the distance is wrong on there, that is my fault. I plucked that out of when I was researching it. I might not have been in Tampa when I pulled that data up.
Too funny.
So apologies if the distance is wrong, but you can find that out yourself. There's a bunch of ways that you can find the distance calculations. All right, what do we have here? We've got another question coming in. All right, Jennifer, we have a question. Do you have suggestions on how to continue to blend the sky?
So to blend the sky, I guess I would ask after the fact, or, so, okay, if the question means that they're not happy with their sky now that it's dry and they want it to look more blended, white is your friend. So always start with a little bit of paint. You could even water it down a little bit, the white. So I would put some white on my brush, a little bit of water, and then blot it, and then just gently go over everything to kind of make it look more blended. The transition's not so, you know, here's the blue, here's the white. So try that. If your question was while you start the painting, after I put the colors on the canvas, then the best time to blend is when you barely have any paint left on your brush. And don't push hard, just gently glide over it and then it'll blend.
I found a way that I've fixed some of my boo-boos, not blended boo-boos after the fact is I got a much lighter shade, but instead of using a paintbrush, I wadded up some paper towels.
Oh.
Some paper towels, and I used that lighter pigment with a damp paper towel, and I just did a little bit of like stippling, just smooshing it on there a little bit, just to get it a little bit more smudgy, because I'm also very guilty of picking up too much pigment and then having a hard time blending it. So yeah.
And you know what? You could always cover it with a cloud too. You know, just
fair
throw
game.
Some clouds in there.
Keep those questions coming if you have them. We've got a few more minutes if you do. So while you're typing those in there, here I'll show you what mine turned out. Now I did not have time to get my actual acrylics out leading up to this program, but I followed along with my iPad and the painting program on there. So here is my digital rendition of this activity. So if you guys followed along with those at home, and if you made a digital one, or if you got your canvas out and got your pigments out, then share that picture with us. Take a picture with your masterpiece, share your masterpiece with us. You can send that to us at hcplc.org/stories. Anytime you do anything fun with us, a program with us, something in the library or online, snap a picture and share that with us on that website, and we would love to feature you on our social media. That's where we get some of that fun content that we put up there. So we love to see what you've done. And I'm going to pop this up here. So just in case the technology boycotts us again, you've got our contact information up there. I don't see any other questions coming in so far. So if you think of a question after the fact, you can get to us by going to hcplc.org/contact. That has all of our contact information in one place, including our fun Ask a Librarian function. I already showed you the hcplc.org/story. So a reminder, share those fun pictures with us. And I've got Jennifer's website up here, www.thecolorexpress.com. So you've seen some fun programs of theirs with us here at the library, and they've got some more activities through their website. So check that out as well. All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions coming in, we'll go ahead and wrap that up. Jennifer, thank you so much for this activity. Did you have fun?
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. All right, folks. Well, we will see you for our next program. It's been fun, and I can't wait to see how your artwork turned out. Bye, friends. We'll see you next time.
Bye.